This is the limestone lowdown. Hear the sound when you lie to the issues all around. From every corner, let's make it clear. The change we need is starting here.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the latest episode of the Limestone Lowdown.
Hey guys, we have got a special guest.
Another special guest.
Yeah, he's one of our dear friends. His name is Tim. He's joined
kind of been along on this crusade almost from the very beginning.
Yeah, he came to. He's been with us at most of our meetings. He took a hiatus to go see Patty, but I'll give him a pass on that. He felt like he was gone forever. I kept asking Jared, like, where is Tim? He's like, he's not back yet.
So, but now he's back, better than ever,
Yeah.
and he's, like I say, been on this journey almost from the very beginning, so he knows where all the bodies are buried and everything like that.
Especially our bodies are buried where we put them. No, I'm just teasing.
Well, I say, when you tell the truth, you don't have anything to remember, so I sleep just fine at night. Now, I don't know about a lot of these other people in Athens, but, Nevertheless, so, Mr. Tim, would you like to tell, how did you end up here? Or what did you find appealing about this area?
I am definitely not a puppy. I'm an old man. And, but my first house I bought south of Birmingham in 1981.
Oh, that's a good year.
So I had a buddy that lived up here, and I covered the state of Alabama for GE Medical.
Okay.
And so my buddy that lived up here, every now and then we'd go fishing. And I knew Athens as the gas station between Huntsville and Florence.
And that's what it used to be,
that's
apparently.
What it used to be.
And that was it. So Franklin and I just fished around here, half a dozen times more. And I retired from up north, retired to Tennessee, and decided it was just too bloody cold up there. So I knew that I always liked, Florence, Decatur area, the Tri-Cities. And so I came down here looking for a house and ended up in Athens.
Look at that.
I couldn't believe I've been here 3.5 years. I couldn't believe 72. Because I think it was dirt. I don't even know if it was there back when I was a kid. But we drove a dinosaur back and forth a few times down that road. But so anyway, I got started for some reason with Amanda and Jared, and went to the November meeting and befriended a couple there because of their story. And I just got interested in, it's like, what's going on? And what it turns out is they were originally renting a house from one of our council members. Obviously, that would be Chris Seibert, and he, the person that I was speaking to is him and his fiance. They rented a different house that was in decent shape, and paid 1 month's rent, and in less than that time, he said they were just suddenly uprooted and given like a day. They were told that the house was going to be condemned or it was going back to the bank, and so they had to go to another house. And that's how they ended up on the Wheeler Street house.
So this is from like the November 4th city council meeting, and this is kind of where it all starts with like the inspection reports of houses within the city. And Teresa and her fiance Willis came, and they were, got up in front of city council and was talking about the condition of this house. And when Tim is referencing, so there was this house that they paid for that's on Browns Ferry. And so they paid that full month's rent. I think they told us it was like, because we've also talked to Teresa, this was before city council, and they were told like 2 weeks later that they had to go finish their month out at Wheeler Street. And then they get over there and their plumbing is messed up. This is one of the houses we talked about several, but when Teresa brought us in, You could literally see outside. She had a door in her room that went out the back, and there was probably 2 inches that you could see out the door. There was sewage in the yard,
Raw sewage.
raw
guys.
sewage. There was one bathroom for 3 families. One of them was a Haitian mom and her 3 kids. Another one was a Haitian man, and then Teresa and Willis. And they shared this one bathroom where the shower didn't even work, and you could see the bucket that they were having to use in this bathtub. There was black mold all over the entire ceiling. There was spray foam around heaters.
Seems like a fire hazard to me.
Yes. And so we reported this to the health department. But
For the sewage situation.
Right.
And they said that they would check on it or whatever. I mean, of the houses we've seen, this is probably in the top as far as the worst ones. Mm-hmm. And, on our... on the Facebook page, we have pictures of all this. We started posting the pictures of how these houses look, because I don't even think we can express in words like how bad it is. And the pictures can kind of just tell the story. Like, you cannot deny, like if we're just talking, you can deny what I'm saying. But if you see a picture of it, you can, it's harder, much harder to deny. Well, that's what it looks like. I mean, I'm just telling you.
Yeah, and I can attest what they're saying, because I wanted to firsthand information, and so
right, because the city council was the first time that you'd heard about it, and you were like,
so was it the next day you went to the house, or was it within a couple days? Wasn't it
within a couple of days?
Mm-hmm.
I befriended Willis and Teresa, and because I couldn't believe it, and then I'm like, and that was, I think that was the first council meeting I actually ever went to.
No, you came when you first got started. Remember, because we met up at the headquarters, and then you came that afternoon, but then you went on that hiatus for 2 months, and then decided to come back to us.
It wasn't that long, it was 2 years, but yeah, so I can, what they're saying isn't just words. I actually went to the house, and
it's as bad as we say.
And everything they said, the only thing I think for clarification, the odd thing is they removed from a residence to another technical residence, but they had 1 bedroom, period. And there was a Haitian man that had his bedroom door was locked, and he was there whenever he was there. I never met him.
Yeah, we never saw him either.
And then there was another Haitian woman with 3 children, and she slept on the couch in the living room, which was less than stellar. And the 3 kids all slept in the bedroom, but the kitchen was totally non-functional.
Yeah. When the floor is uneven, like it was gross. And I don't mean like it wasn't clean. I'm just saying it was just gross. And I have a very sensitive, like I get migraines really bad from mold. And when we were in there, it was less than 5 minutes. And I told Jared, I was like, I can't be in here. There's got to be some severe mold. Like my migraine is kicking in. Which there was black mold like all over the kitchen, all over the ceiling. I can only imagine what's underneath, because from what we've heard before these Haitians got moved here, this is what Mark has told us, Mr. Mark Wilson, which y'all have heard on us talk with him, that Chris Seibert had his property manager and some of his people that work for him to go around and basically put a fresh coat of paint on some of these houses to cover up even the outside paint, the walls. Mark's got pictures from 10 plus years ago before they went in. And so this is another thing that solidifies that this was intentional. This was a setup to bringing, I know this episode is about Teresa, but just to kind of hit home that bringing these Haitians here was planned. He evicted a lot of people out of these homes and put a Band-Aid, a fresh coat of paint over these houses so that it looks better for when he puts them there. And Teresa, so when it came her time, and her rent was due, she's like, I'm not paying for another month's rent.
Also, did some of the appliances didn't even work either? Was that like the refrigerator or the stove or something? I believe there's some issues with that.
they had a refrigerator. I think that was the only thing that worked. I'm pulling that out of memory. I think the fridge was the only thing in the kitchen that was functional.
Okay, so it was the
they-
stove then that did not work.
They did
That
have
was-
It was like
I thought there was 2 refrigerators in
There
there.
was
so
2 refrigerators.
Maybe one of the fridges didn't work,
Yeah.
and then they only had the one. So
But
instead
no,
of
the stove did not work. We agree on the refrigerator, but the stove
well,
did not
Teresa
work.
didn't even have heat in her room. That was only a heater, so she wasn't even provided heat in that room because we took
And,
pictures
and
that
then
day.
to, also more clarification, she was literally renting a room
right,
for what, $600-$800? I don't remember
something.
which.
I think it was
the
600.
600.
It was the total rent for the whole house was $2,200 between the 3.
We know the mom
3
and the 3.
rooms.
Yeah, the mom and the 3 kids were 800, and then
The Haitian man was 600, and maybe they were
maybe
800.
Teresa was 800 because I thought it was
For a room,
Anyways,
guys.
it was $600 or $800.
And sharing a bathroom with all these other folks.
And there are building codes that are for overcrowding. There are building codes, so technically you can't put that many people. I mean, not just for the fact that you can't have a building in that type of condition is one thing, but you can't even put that many people and expect them to live normally. And we have our building codes that clearly state that.
Clearly say that.
And the state of Alabama has clear regulations for anybody renting. There
The
are renters'
Alabama
rights.
Tenant Guide,
The Alabama Tenant
and I
Guide.
believe you've referenced that, and the city of Athens just doesn't care. And that's where what we talked about, that the whole, well, this should be inspected, because if it was inspected, it would fail. But they're saying, oh, no, it's fine. So we're saying, where's the inspection report? And they're saying, oh, no, not so fast. That's where the
Well,
Alabama
right.
Attorney General opinion came in.
So back to the meeting. So you met. So after since that was your first meeting back after a while, you were intrigued. Like, I can't believe that our city completely dismissed their concerns. And I mean, they said the address, and Teresa even called out that Chris Seibert was the owner, and he didn't say a word. I don't think, did he?
No, he wasn't. He wasn't going to address it.
And Ronnie Marks was like, "We'll take your comment and we'll see what we can do." And then I'm sure, and so you were like, "You know what? I'm gonna go
That's going to be my crusade.
I'm
I'm
gonna-
going to follow up and
follow." And you've done that. You've been working on this for months. You've talked to Ronnie Marks and Eric Waddell, and basically just asking for clarification. So you went out to their house. You saw all of this that they said what we've said to be true, and then you followed up with the mayor and Eric Waddell.
And you know, to the best of my knowledge, I don't have any more contact with Willis
Or Teresa, yeah.
and Teresa. So I'm really they did have to move for a while. Who I don't know if it was who it was, but somebody went in there and turned off all the power and all the water. And that was before Teresa and Mark, Teresa and Willis left, and they were complaining. They're like, I'm like, this is so. They ended up moving somewhere, and I honestly don't know where that is. I have not been back to the Wheeler Street house. I have gone and looked at some others, with the help of Mark, and talked to some people and seen some other houses, and it's like, it's just. There, not only is there common decency being broken, but there's actually regulations and laws that are there that are completely being ignored when it's convenient.
So at the Wheeler Street, I know that, we saw that the house, that the power had been turned off. So we had
within 2 days.
we had reported the sewage in the yard to the health department. So then the health department had to reach out to the city to send a notice to the owner, and then they had 30 days to respond. They ended up calling me back and said that supposedly it had been fixed, but since then, honestly, nobody lives there. Again, my theory is because he owns 90% of that street right there. He's just leaving it vacant until either move somebody in because we've forgotten about it, or to demolish it for a bigger idea, a bigger project that he's got planned. But so 30 days, the health department called me back and said they said everything was fixed. You're also not supposed to, anybody that lives in that home, their utilities is supposed to be in their name. Like you're not supposed to have utilities in an owner's name and then that part be part of your rent. And that was the understanding. And that Mark had told us this happens all the time, that they will illegally evict people. Now, this Haitian mom and her kids, it's a sad story. I mean, you don't pay rent, you should be kicked out. Like, I get that, but
You should also have a livable house as well.
right.
And that's kind of the thing. Like, well, we can't even take a shower. Like the toilet backs up. Not only was there no like disturbed dirt, which is crazy, you know, we supposedly fix this problem, but there's no disturbed dirt. So it's like, how do you fix this problem with it bubbling up if there's not even any dirt disturbed in the yard? It had to be some pipe issue or something like that. So that led us to believe. And the crazy thing was, within 2 days of them being at this city council meeting, the power and water was shut off. And unfortunately for them, they had to live there in a week, 2 weeks.
Well, the mom and the kids did too, because they had nowhere to go.
Now the Haitian man got moved out and moved to another property, but they were kind of in limbo, which is then we were checking on them all the time. Like, this is so ridiculous that a mom. Well, anybody really, but specifically that children were subjected to this, living in the dark with no water and nowhere to go.
I even tried to call DHR, not to get the kids taken away, but that they shouldn't, they shouldn't be allowed to live like this in their life. And DHR has like up to 72 hours. Like, there was no concern either.
Didn't you also call like some of the local churches that had like some kind of outreach for, housing and stuff, just some temporary houses?
Was it like community action or something? Was that what it's called?
Maybe, I don't know.
One of the local Church of Christ churches, they do something like that. And I called the guy and I provided the Haitian woman's information. And as far as I know, they never reached out to them, but I did my best to help find them a new place. But with Teresa and Willis, they were still having to stay in there for several days, weren't they?
Yeah, they didn't have any place to go, like, without any notice. So they ended up staying in I believe pretty close to a week, maybe a day short, maybe a day or two longer. Mm-hmm. And then they found someplace else to actually go. But to live in the wintertime without any electricity, without any power whatsoever. So you got no heat, you got no running water, and you got one little bitty
the stove doesn't
room.
work. And the stove. So you, since then, have you talked to, after that city council meeting and you went and looked at this house, talking with Teresa and Willis, did you talk with the mayor again about that house?
I did follow up with the mayor, and unfortunately I did have a situation that I was gone for a while. So he stated at the council meeting that he would have it looked into in a reasonable amount of time, 2 or 3 days. So I really didn't follow back up with him until I was hoping to meet with him in early January, but I wasn't home yet. So it was actually just about a week or two ago that I followed up with the mayor, and he said that I have not been by the property since then. I sent him an email with some other properties, and the way I understood it is there was nobody at Wheeler Street anymore. I didn't follow up with that, but we had a list of other houses, and I followed up with Eric, the building inspector, and the mayor. And, they say the owner's been notified and he's got 30 days to make repairs. And that was just recently. So
we'll see what happens in 30 days. I know that, didn't the mayor allude to that Teresa and Willis, they were, that they weren't even supposed to be in the house, that they were there illegally? He called them like squatters or something. So it's almost like demeaned the quality of the house. I guess it's like, even if they're homeless or whatever else, like you still don't care that he was renting the house to other people, but because Teresa came forward at city council, they're irrelevant because they were squatters,
and
right?
said that the power was in their name and they didn't pay it, and that's why it shut off.
And that was
I think
not.
We all know that was not the case.
Right. When there's 3 separate families living
how do
in
you
the
do
house,
that?
and besides,
they had no keys to even get in and out of their house.
They wouldn't have had the time to put the utilities in there because they were moved in a day or
Yeah.
two.
Well, and they
Boom.
moved over there and they were there for like 2 weeks before all of this happened. And it's just funny to me that like Teresa and Willis weren't there to report the conditions of the house. They were there to report the conditions of the house, and that we have a sitting elected official that owns it. And it's just funny. I'm just going to read to y'all what is quoted in the meeting minutes that Holly wrote up. It says, Teresa at 1311 Wheeler Street and her fiance addressed the city council regarding the house that they are living in and stated that there are numerous amounts of repairs that need to be made. Not that the city councilman owns it and is allowed to have these,
And that they weren't alone in that house.
Right.
There was 3 separate families in that house.
And this is in the
So that would be what we talked about earlier, codes, right?
Code enforcement.
After code violation.
And see, and I really, Jared and I may have differences of opinions on this, but I try to give Eric Waddell the benefit of the doubt. I mean, he's a veteran. He is like part of a code enforcement over in the state of Alabama. He knows how to do his job. I've heard good things about him. It just makes me think that someone is forcing his hand and not allowing him to do his job. Jared, the inspection reports, this is, they're supposed to be public information. Jared and I have talked on some of the other podcasts about the Alabama Attorney General opinion. And this house specifically is what started that, because in doing our research, we found out that inspection reports are public information. So we did a public records request for this house and 1 or 2 others. And they took like 2 or 3 weeks to get back to us, but then basically said that they don't have to give inspection reports. And our opinion is that they just don't exist.
Exactly.
As they should, because when we would think that, if we're reporting this, that would trigger somebody to go out. Oh, in the day that we went over there to check on that mom and her kids, that lady told us that Maria had just came by and put those fire alarms in. Remember that? Mm-hmm. So the house didn't even have proper fire alarms in it until that day. And that was when the power was already off. So Chris Seibert had already gotten wind that we were on to this house because of city council meeting. You have talked to Teresa and the mayor and Eric Waddell, and he sends Maria over there to do some fixing.
Because the whole thing is, if there's code violations,
which not having fire alarms is,
generates a report, which becomes public knowledge, is what they said. Which
it also creates paper trail,
right?
So somebody can follow up on it.
Exactly.
So if that paper trail doesn't exist, or that electronic paper trail, whichever it is,
right?
If that doesn't exist, then they don't ever, and then you get meeting minutes. So
one of the funny things was that we had a little freeze, and we have our little route that we go and check out everything now just to see what's going on. And we were driving past it, and it was flooded. Yeah, because the pipes had bust.
Yeah,
and it had rained in like 2 months or something, and the whole backyard was flooded. You could see it from the road.
Yeah, you could. And Mark had told us that. He called us and told us, and we drove by there because nobody's living there, and they shouldn't be. I mean, nobody should have to live in those kinds of conditions. So, yeah.
So we don't know exactly what Teresa is doing, but she's still working at the local convenience store.
We see her over there.
She's at least making it. She's still around here. And then I guess Willis is
still at Roosters.
Yeah.
Is he still working at Roosters? Or are you?
I don't know.
Well, that was the last when you talked to him last time.
That was the last you heard, and that was. So that was a couple months.
And then, luckily for them, we don't know exactly where they're living, but we know that hopefully they're living somewhere better than this. And
there'll be a whole nother episode on the house where maybe that'll be our next episode, because we've got a whole nother where the mom and the 3 kids, that whole debacle. That's a whole nother inspection. That was another rabbit hole that we went down with the city.
Rabbit holes.
Yeah. So, but yeah, Tim, we really appreciate having you on to kind of, I guess, back up and solidify like the story that we've been trying to tell within the city, and that it's not just us saying that the city's hard to deal with,
Or that the houses are in bad
that
shape.
the houses
you
are
know,
in bad shape.
And if there's anybody that wants to get involved, you really, this isn't a full-time job if you don't want it to be. 3 to 5 hours a month. That's all. If we can get 15, 20, 25, 30 people each to jump in and put in 3 to 5 hours a month, then
the difference
this
that we
thing,
can make. Yeah.
we can really.
And I think a lot of people are doing it independently. And that was like, even like with the podcast, if we can formulate
Join
this
forces.
group and do it together where we're doing it, as Jared's always like, a coalition.
Coalition of the willing.
Yeah, but if it doesn't take a lot, and especially when we're all working together to make our city better and to just hold our officials accountable.
And unfortunately, that's what we've had to do. And the city of Athens does not do anything unless you call them out and hold their feet to the fire. It's been, unfortunately, that's what we've had to do with everything.
Yeah.
So,
Well, we've hit our time, so thanks for listening in, and I'm sure we'll have Tim back on. He's been along the ride with us for since the beginning. He'll be there till the end. So, thank you, Tim, for coming on the show, and
Good luck, y'all. Thank you for putting this whole. I mean, these two are just ballistic. It's like. They're bulldogs. Do not make them mad at you, please. If you know it's smart for you.
hey, don't make it personal, right?
right. Till next time, guys.
Thank you very much.
And that's a wrap for this episode of the Limestone Lowdown, where we break down the issues, keep you informed, and give you facts straight from the source. Remember, your voice matters. Your vote counts, and your community thrives when we stay engaged. Stay tuned. Stay informed and stay involved. Until next time, keep questioning, keep advocating, and keep shaping the future of the Limestone area. We'll see you on the next Limestone Lowdown.